Evan Davis, the head of a branch library in New Jersey, had been living as a man for only 2 years when he volunteered to mentor 12-year-old Chris Mari, a boy who was born a girl.
I remember seeing Chris for the first time. He came walking down the hallway, and he just looked like any other boy, to me. How tall are you? Do you know how tall you are?
I'm almost 5'6".
Chris's view of Evan was pretty much the same.
He seemed nice, and I thought he looked like a man, just like me.
If I had not known that he was trans, I would have never guessed it. And I was very relieved by that. The kids had a lot of fun, and they just all took to Evan right away. So it was really great. On that second visit, Evan taught Chris how to tie a tie. And that was really cool, because Chris really wanted to learn how to tie a tie and be able to wear a tie, and Evan showed him how to do it. So those kinds of things then started happening.
Very nice.
Finally.
Yes.
There were more visits and more opportunities for Chris and Evan to bond man to man.
Oh.
Their closeness was obvious to Evan's sister, Ellen.
When Evan met him, I think there was an immediate bond there, and I know Evan sees a lot of himself in Chris and wants it to be easier for Chris than it was for him.
I do remember as a child praying that I would wake up as a boy. Oh, I used to always pray for that. And it didn't happen, obviously. That didn't work out. This is from when I was in 2nd grade with my sister, when I was dressing as a boy. I do feel bad for that little boy, that what he had to go through all alone. And there was, nobody else in the world like me, as far as I knew.
When Evan was a child, admitting to anyone that he was transgender would have been too shocking. Even tolerant parents like Evan's did not want to talk about it.
It was an unspoken, ghost in the room. We knew that something was different there.
Evan, who does not want to reveal his former female name, didn't behave like a typical little girl.
Whenever I had a doll, the first thing I did was cut off its hair, give it a boy's name, and it was a boy.
She used to abuse my dolls. She didn't like dolls, so she'd take my dolls and bite the fingers off of them. And
I don't know why I did that.
Was hostile.
It just, I don't know. They came off so easily. It was just.
We arranged for Ellen, Evan's older sister, to travel from Colorado to visit him and discuss his childhood.
When he was very young, maybe, 6, 7, 8 years old, Evan used to dress like a boy. And, very convincingly, I might add. When you'd come strolling through in boys' clothes and my friends would go, is that a sister or a brother or what's going on? That was embarrassing to me when I was younger, but, you've always been different.
And at school, different meant unpopular.
I started to kind of be ostracized by other kids and by their parents because they thought, what's this weird kid dressing as a boy? So after a while, the pressure from that got to be a little more than I could handle because I got absolutely no support, from anyone. So I stopped it. I just buried it. I didn't talk about it.
But Evan still felt like a boy, and when puberty gave him a girl's body, that feeling continued to torment him.
For me, the breasts were the absolute worst. I couldn't stand that. It was... I wouldn't look at myself in the mirror without a shirt on. That's how bad it was.
He thought they were awful. It was like he was embarrassed. He didn't want them. And so he never had good posture because he was kind of trying to hide it.
But Evan was a girl by any standard definition, and he made an effort to behave like one. He felt he had no choice. In high school, he even tried to date boys.
Whenever we would go out as a couple, that would make me so anxious that I would be sick to my stomach before I would go out. I couldn't deal with that at all.
She never had boyfriends growing up, but she didn't really have any real girlfriends either. But there was a point when she thought maybe she was gay. But that wasn't it.
As a teenage girl, Evan lived a lonely life, disconnected and dismayed that his body wasn't masculine enough. Then, like now, he wanted more brawn.
I worked out till I was exhausted, and I did get more muscular. And I guess my body was very boyish looking, but it still was not a male body.
A lot of effort to look like a man. But back then, it was too risky to come out as one.
This was before the internet, so every now and then I would find a magazine article or something, and it was always these tragic cases of people who had transitioned and lost everything, their family, and, you know, they were rejected and ostracized and all these terrible things. So I would say, well, I guess I can't do that.
Coming up, times have changed, but being transgender is still not fully accepted. Could Evan Davis help a young girl become a man?
She wants to be a boy, she's going to have to take the good with the bad and how people are going to react to her.